he had attended a No Kings protest in California.
No Kings. Yeah.
What did security tell you about what may have been his motives?
The reason you have people like that is you have people doing No Kings. I'm not a king. What I am, if I was a king, I wouldn't be dealing with you. You should be ashamed of yourself reading that, because I'm not any of those things.
Mr. President,
and
these
I was
are
never,
the gunman's words.
Excuse me. You shouldn't be reading that on 60 Minutes. You're a disgrace. But go ahead, let's finish the interview.
Out of all the stuff he wrote in the manifesto, they're projecting this same rhetoric that got him shot, that got people running after him, the same rhetoric. Look, spring has a way of snapping you into reality. You step outside, everything comes back to life. The grass is growing, the hedges need trimming, and you realize real quick, time is moving whether you're ready or not. When you walk back in the house, your kids aren't the same kids that they were last year. They're bigger, they're stronger, they've grown out of their clothes, their shoes, and half of the stuff that they used to love. And it hits you. Your responsibility is growing right along with them. And that's why I started taking life insurance seriously and why I love Policy Genius. They're not an insurance company trying to sell you one plan. They're a marketplace. That means that you can compare quotes from top insurers all in one place for free. And here's what I really like. Their licensed team works for you, not the insurance company. They walk you through the process, answer your questions, and they handle the paperwork so you're not guessing about anything. You actually know you're getting coverage that fits your life. Because at the end of the day, this is about peace of mind. It's about making sure what you're building for your family is protected as it continues to grow. With Policy Genius, you can find 20-year insurance policies starting at $276 a year for $1 million in coverage. So do yourself a favor. Head to policygenius.com/Tatum, compare your options, and see how much you can save. That's policygenius.com/Tatum. Let's get to the 60 Minutes interview. Roll it.
The so-called manifesto is a stunning thing to read, Mr. President. He appears to reference a motive in it. He writes this, quote, "Administration officials, they are targets." And he also wrote this, "I am no longer willing to permit a pedophile, rapist, and traitor to coat my hands with his crimes." What's your reaction to that?
Well, I was waiting for you to read that because I knew you would, because you're horrible people, horrible people. Yeah, he did write that. I'm not a rapist. I didn't rape anybody.
Do you think he was referring to you?
Excuse me. I'm not a pedophile. You read that crap from some sick person. I got associated with all stuff that has nothing to do with me. I was totally exonerated. Your friends on the other side of the plate are the ones that were involved with, let's say, Epstein or other things. But I said to myself, I'll do this interview and they'll probably, I read the manifesto, he's a sick person, but you should be ashamed of yourself reading that, because I'm not any of those things.
Mr. President,
and
these are the gunman's words.
Excuse me. You shouldn't be reading that on 60 Minutes. You're a disgrace. But go ahead, let's finish the interview.
The other thing that he wrote in
You're disgraceful.
Now, people are looking at this and saying, well, why would Donald Trump say that? Oh, it's just too. No, it is a disgrace. Out of all the stuff he wrote in the manifesto, they're projecting this same rhetoric that got him shot, that got people running after him, the same rhetoric. This woman would never in her life think to bring something up like this to President Barack Obama or anybody else. You've never seen it. You never will see it. These people are a disgrace. And then she goes and says, oh, you think they're talking about you? It's like a gaslighting woman. You think they're talking about, yeah, you know what you think you're doing. Come on, there's more clips. The No Kings clip. No. He said he's not a king. Roll it.
The other thing in the manifesto that I think is worth looking at in terms of determining his motive is he had been staying at the hotel since Friday. He checked in, he said he had cased the place, and he wrote, "What the hell is the Secret Service doing?" And he wrote this quote, "I expected security cameras at every bend, bugged hotel rooms, armed agents every 10 feet, metal detectors out the wazoo. What I got is nothing." He wrote, like, this level of incompetence is insane. Sir, you have already had two attempted...
Well, he was pretty incompetent, too, because he got caught. And he got caught pretty easily. So I'd say he was pretty incompetent, too. I could take any event having to do with security or anything else. I can always find fault. Those guys did a good job last night. They did a really good job.
I mention that because, again, as his motive, and you brought this up, he had social media accounts that had anti-Trump and anti-Christian rhetoric.
You should read, why don't you read all the anti-Trump? Why don't you read it? You just did, so why don't you read it?
Well, he had a lot of anti-Christian rhetoric. He was part of a group called the Wide Awakes. He had attended a No Kings protest in California.
No Kings, yeah.
What did security tell you about what
See,
may have been his motives?
The reason you have people like that is you have people doing no kings. I'm not a king. What I am, if I was a king, I wouldn't be dealing with you.
Let's just keep it 100. When you look at what he said, why don't you read what he said about Christians? No. Because y'all don't want to play his actual words in the level of hatred. They want to frame him as, oh, this guy was mentally ill, and she brought up the whole pedophile thing. Quote what he said about Christians. Quote what he said about the president, how vile he was. How disrespectful he was to the office. Every American that can hear his rhetoric and words should be against what this man did. But they don't play his crazy stuff. They just promote what he said about President, him making these derogatory claims about Trump, but not all the other stuff about he want him to die and all kind of other crazy stuff. All right, let's get to the Southern poverty lawsuit, Southern law. I don't even remember the name of it. Roll it.
I see these no kings, which are funded just like the Southern Law was funded. You saw all that. Southern Law is financing the KKK and lots of other radical, terrible groups. And then they go out and they say, oh, we've got to stop the KKK. And yet they give them hundreds of thousands and even millions of dollars. It's a total scam run by the Democrats. It shows you that, like Charlottesville was all funded by the Southern Law. That was a Southern Law deal, too. And it was done to make me look bad, and it turned out to be a total fake. It basically was a rigged election. This was a part of the rigging of the election. And that's what you really should be doing. I mean, I hope one of your 60-minute episodes, which really hasn't changed very much from the last few years, I'm surprised, but one of those episodes should be on Southern Law and the fact that they spent millions and millions of dollars on absolute far right and just bad groups. And then they'd use those groups and they'd say, these are Republican groups and we're coming to your rescue. And they're the ones that have funded it, and they're the ones that keep them going.
And they use the excuse to say, oh no, we're funding informants. What they're doing is they're funding people to continue to antagonize, because the reason that they got in trouble is because they claimed informants, but they never gave the government they made any reports of findings, right? They go, well, we're funding informants. Well, what did you discover? What crime was committed? Oh, you have none. And if there is some, you didn't report it. You did not report it to law enforcement. So why would you fund an informant, but then don't disclose anything that the informant discovered? We know what y'all doing. They paying people to continue to be prolific and antagonizing, supporting these organizations that are racist. They probably are paying people to be racist in these organizations, to continue it, to continue to push it, to set up meetings, to set up protests. And they do it, and when it all hit the fan, they go, see, look at this racism. Oh, look at this study. This is why we got to do this. But then the left act like it's not happening.